MAGA Republicans have already made what will be the worst decision in the entirety of this Congress in creating the DOJ subcommittee, because it gives some of our best Democratic communicators an opportunity to call out all of Elon Musk's corruption and criminality. And that is exactly what Jasmine Crockett did just now, calling out Elon, publicly challenging him to his face to come testify before the committee. If you're so proud of all the work you're doing at DOJ, if you're not breaking the law, Elon, surely you can talk about it. It was an incredible call-out from Jasmine Crockett and a brutal takedown of Elon that we're going to get into. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, let's get into this interview.
Joining me now is someone on the front lines of the effort to push back against Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is a Democrat of Texas. She's a member of the House Oversight Committee on DOJ. Congresswoman, welcome. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah.
This is a tricky one. Now, you have the benefit of you were not a member of Congress in the first Trump administration. You were in government, but this is what's your take on what resistance looks like for you, for me, for society, for those lawyers at the DOJ? What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, so first of all, hats off to each and every person who literally said that I have some ethics about myself and therefore I'm just going to resign. That's as it relates to the DOJ as well as every other agency. The scary part about this, though, is that only his lackeys will be left running our governmental agencies, whatever is left of those governmental agencies. When I think about resistance, though, I've had a lot of conversations, and one of the things that keeps coming up is how the former governor of this state was consistently doing daily briefings in the midst of COVID because we couldn't trust anything that Donald Trump was saying about the pandemic.
Right.
So everyone tuned in to really what almost was like the shadow president, the guy that was going to give us facts and not tell us to inject ourselves with bleach.
Right.
I think that we need to do something similar to that because all they're going to do, him and his new press secretary, is spew lies upon lies upon lies. We need to daily brief the American people. That's number one. Number two, a lot of people are talking about, you know what, we just are looking forward to the midterms. We only need 3 more seats. I'm sure everybody's tired of getting emails, text messages, phone calls, trying to raise money. But the reality is that we have an opportunity right now. I know that a lot of people look at these seats that are available, which there's going to be a total of 3, and they say these are deep red seats. But here's the thing. We saw that in the state of Iowa, they swung a seat 27 points so that a Democrat could win. I say we have nothing to lose. We need to go out. We need to talk to those people that finally understand that the only mission that Donald Trump has is making sure that he can line his pockets, line Elon's pockets, and any other billionaire, all at our expense. It's not just going to be the people you dislike that are going to miss out on their Medicare, Medicaid, or their Social Security. Or down in the state of Florida, where 2 of these seats are, they are talking about getting rid of FEMA. It is time to wake up, and it doesn't mean that you're a Democrat if you vote Democratically.
So this is where I want to get to. Who's the audience to swing some of these states? Is it progressives who understand that their priorities are being crushed, or is it people who voted Republican to whom you say, you didn't vote for this, did you?
Exactly.
You didn't vote for Elon Musk and a guy named Big Balls to have your documentation.
Yeah.
How does that message get out there in a way that entire audience hears it?
I think that you're right. Definitely the entire audience. I just don't know how many progressives exist in Matt Gaetz' former district, right? But I do think that there are farmers in that district, farmers that are concerned because they rely upon monies as it relates to USAID and other monies that are now being dismantled. And it means that you may lose your family farm. It may be bought up by a corporate organization. And so I think just having very real conversations, we've seen people who have talked about, well, we don't want you firing the people at the VA. Or maybe it's somebody that has to fly all the time and they're concerned because we have a record number of planes literally falling out of the sky because he decided he was going to appoint some guy from Fox to be a over transportation. But at the end of the day, there were those that never believed that we could end up with 2 senators in the state of Georgia, and we did. There were those that never believed we could have a Democrat representing Alabama, and in that special election, we did. So I think if there's any point in time that the people should rise up and figure out where should I focus, that right now they're trying to cut SNAP benefits. You know who uses more SNAP benefits than anybody else? It's rural America. It's not urban America. We have a story for every single person who's not a billionaire in this country, and it's time for us to tell it.
So you had an interesting story, which I wasn't going to bring up because my parents watched this show, but you were involved in a hearing with Elon Musk about condoms. Right? Do you remember this whole?
It wasn't with Elon. Elon, if you're watching, come through, boo, because you haven't shown up to the Doge subcommittee yet.
Right, and you called him out at that subcommittee.
Yes.
But this became weird because Buddy Carter, your colleague from Georgia, started talking about how we were giving condoms to the Taliban, and then Donald Trump himself. Then it became about Gaza, but it would have to have been about 7,000 condoms per person. And then he said it was just Hamas, which none of it made sense. But it caused a lot of people to have to run around and follow the story and find out that we give condoms as part of USAID to prevent the spread of HIV to a place in Mozambique called Gaza province.
Correct.
This is the nonsense we have to deal with here.
It's not even just nonsense. It's just that they're idiots. I mean, these are the same guys, remember, as it relates to our nuclear stockpile, right? They're like, oh, wait a minute. We needed those guys?
Yeah.
Oh, can we get them back? Oh, we don't know how to. Like, I don't know how anyone in this country can look at this administration and feel some semblance of any type of confidence, right? And this is all at the same time. Like, Elon doesn't want us talking about the fact that he has received almost $1 billion worth of new contract money from the U.S. government in just 2 weeks.
Yep.
$400 million for Tesla and over $300 million for SpaceX. This is nothing more than a money grab. He's not out there trying to save money for the American people. That's not what he's doing. He's lining his pockets. And at the same time, he's outraging people who don't know exactly how we spend our money and how it benefits us to make sure that things like HIV and AIDS doesn't become the worldwide pandemic that it used to be.
Yeah.
Exactly. Same thing with everything else that we're dealing with, because now we know Ebola was found where? Here. In New York. It's my attention. It's on these special elections, and it's having real conversations on the doors with real people talking about what's really happening and not the lies that they're putting out there.
I want to go back to this idea. There are a lot of people frustrated about where a lot of Democrats are in this mix.
Yeah.
You're out there a lot. We've talked several times. You've got a take on everything that happens. This concept about a daily briefing. We've talked about whether we should act more like a parliamentary system here, where the opposition's got a job to do every day, and you see them as often as you see a prime minister. What does that look like? Have you had this conversation with a lot of your colleagues about how this looks?
I've been trying to work through it because I think when we compare it to what was happening in COVID, it was just one subject.
Right.
And for us as Democrats, we like to have experts. We don't just want to talk in mouth, right? And so it's a matter of how do we know what's coming to make sure that we've got the right expert on hand. But I think that it would be great if at least maybe every Friday we have a different attorney general or the same one that talks
them as often as you see a prime minister. What does that look like? Have you had this conversation with a lot of your colleagues about how this looks?
I've been trying to work through it because I think when we compare it to what was happening in COVID, it was just one subject.
Right.
And for us as Democrats, we like to have experts. We don't just want to talk in mouth, right? And so it's a matter of how do we know what's coming to make sure that we've got the right expert on hand. But I think that it would be great if at least maybe every Friday we have a different attorney general or the same one that talks about the status of the cases, right? I think that there's things that we can do. We can just maybe decide on what days we're going to have transportation, and maybe we can pull on Secretary Buttigieg to come through and say, this is the day that I will pick up and I will talk about what's happening at FAA. I think we also have to start having some field hearings. We've got to go into their territory. We've got to explain to people in rural America, the reason that you don't have hospitals is because of their policies.
How can you not love Jasmine Crockett? This is exactly the type of energy we need from her. And really, it's a great lesson to every other Democrat. This is the type of energy we need. This is the way we need to be communicating. We have to be publicly challenging Elon Musk. Imagine the media like just storm we could have around not only if he actually showed up to Congress, which I doubt he will, because he's a little coward, but just around the story of him not listening to subpoena, which of course Republicans blocked when Democrats put forth the motion because they don't want Elon testifying in front of a committee that they run Marjorie Taylor Greene head up the DO subcommittee. Think about that. She's in charge, yet she doesn't want Elon to be there at the subcommittee on the organization he's running, or I guess Republicans say that he's not running it, even though that's a lie and a violation of an affidavit that Elon signed, which is another lie, which is a criminal act. Now, I understand why he doesn't want to talk about it, but seriously, we need to be jitting up just as much attention as we can around this. That Elon does not want to talk about his agency, it is a story that will break through, and it gives us an opportunity to talk about all the corruption happening at Doge, which Jasmine Crockett has been doing consistently. Take a look at what she had to say right here.
Not our democracy. Well, he did say he'd be a dictator on day one. Oh, Democrats, it's just Trump. He just talks. Well, let me tell you something. He is doing more than talking. We talked about Project 2025. We talked about the consolidation of power. We talked about how he wanted to be a king. We talked about in a democratic republic, that is not what it is. We have some sort of checks and balances, and he is doing everything that he can to get rid of those checks and balances. The DOJ and the people that he's going after were simply doing their jobs. The problem is that Americans thought that it was okay to take a full-fledged criminal and make him the president of the United States, and then they want to act aghast when he does criminal things. Let me tell you, we have a thug in charge of the United States, and if we don't wake up, we may not have a United States, because right now he has only been successful in being a divider in chief.
What an absolute superstar. I wish we had 10, 20, 50 more Jasmine Crockett's. I feel like Jasmine Crockett doesn't get to sleep. She doesn't just get to take a beat. But I think she's okay with that. She understands how important it is that we can continue to crush and crack down on and call out. And any other CW you want to use, there's some CWS I want to use. And I'm thinking about Elon Musk. But we're not going to do it on this show. This video would get taken down. It might be worth it, might make me feel better about it. But I think we're just going to stick with corrupt and criminal for now and leave the rest to Jasmine Crockett, and we're going to be covering all of her takedowns of the cowardly man that is Elon Musk. And if you want to follow along with that, as always, you hit that subscribe button, you can leave a like on this video, and if you're stuck around at the end, you drop a blue heart in the comments. And if you want to connect with the show off YouTube, you can go to the description of this video and follow me on Instagram. And until next time, I'll see you soon.